Hey there, Chef Melissa coming to you from my personal kitchen, and I'm sure all of you are frustrated, stuck home with this craziness of the quarantine, but I'm excited to utilize this time to be able to kind of play around with some new recipes and also teach you some of my favorite recipes, old and new. So today, the first dish of my quarantine healthy cooking series is going to be a kind of like a hybridized chicken cacciatore. It's going to be kind of cacciatore because it's chicken with a red sauce, but I'm also going to be doing a twist by incorporating cilantro, because one of the things when you're doing quarantine cooking is you kind of have to use whatever elements you have on hand. So to get my dish started, right now I have my ceramic pan heating up, and I'm just going to be using a dab of this vegan butter. It's a Melt Rich and Creamy. Melt is the brand. And then a little bit of olive oil. So let me just put a teeny bit of oil on the bottom of the pan. And this dish is kind of going to be a two-step process. So the first thing I'm going to be doing is cooking the chicken and then kind of seasoning the pan with the flavor of the chicken. Then I'll be removing the chicken, and then I'll be preparing the sauce with all the veggies and the fixings that go into that. So let's get started with step number one. So I have the olive oil, just melt a little bit of the butter. Be careful using ceramic and a metal object. Not typically a good combination. So I've unveiled the chicken. This is organic chicken thighs. Most chicken cacciatores use boned chicken, but I'm actually just going to be using thighs, and I'm not trimming it. I actually want to incorporate a little bit of the fat into the flavor. And the flour that I'm dipping it into is buckwheat flour. So the method that I'm doing right now, sometimes when you do bread or do a crusted meat or fish, you need to do an egg wash, but because I'm going to be searing the flour onto the meat with the fat that's on the pan, I don't need to do the egg wash. I'll just repeat that for the next couple of pieces. And because I'm using buckwheat flour as well as the melt butter and the olive oil, this dish is going to be completely gluten-free and dairy-free, so it's anti-inflammatory and nutritious. And of course, at the end, hopefully delicious. I'm just going to raise the heat. So the heat right now is on medium. And let's get these few other pieces breaded over here. Bring this a little closer. Okay. I'm going to get my alarm set for 3 minutes. Alright, and one more to go. And because I'm using buckwheat flour, I mean, you could theoretically use any flour. Some other gluten-free flours that I enjoy using include millet flour, cassava flour. There's also oat flour, or if you don't even have a gluten-free flour, you can actually take oats, put them in a coffee grinder or any sort of a spice grinder, and you could even create your own flour. Because quarantine cooking is kind of a time that, you have to be more creative, as you've all seen, a lot of the grocery store shelves are very barren, bare, and scarce. So you just have to kind of utilize whatever you can get your hands on. So I'm going to let this cook up for a couple of more minutes, flip it over, let it get golden brown, then I'll start working on the sauce. So I will be back in a moment to show you the next steps. Alrighty then, so I've had the chicken down, now cooking for 3 minutes on the first side, and it's getting nice and golden, and the flour, as you can see, is crusting in. Something I didn't tell you before I took the break is that I did put a teeny little dab of butter on the top side of the chicken, so when I flip it down, it kind of helps it become a little bit more rich and seals in more flavor. But as you can see, even though it is dark with the buckwheat flour, it's still nice and golden as I flip it over, and I'm getting all that flavor seared in. And now this will cook for another 3 minutes on this side, and then we will be back to start building the sauce. Okay, so now the chicken's been down for the additional 3 minutes on the second side. So I'm going to remove all the pieces. And then what's great about this dish is it's a nice one pot dish. So you start the chicken in it, you season it, you get all the flavors going, you take it out. See, nice and golden on both sides. You take it out, and then I throw in the rest of the ingredients to build my tomato sauce. So I have some fresh garlic and some yellow onions. And of course, everything that I'm using today is 100% organic. And because it's a tomato sauce, I just want to do just a teeny bit of oil. It's about a tablespoon or so. And just like making any other regular tomato sauce, you just want to saute your garlic and your onions for a few moments just to kind of get them a little bit soft. What's great about using garlic, especially this time of year, with us all needing to worry about keeping our health at bay, is garlic actually has a compound in it called allicin. Not like the female name Allison. It's A-L-I-C-E-N, I believe, but I know it's a C in there, not an S like the name. At any rate, before I go on a tangent, allicin is a compound in garlic that will help you keep your immunity boosted. So, that's why back in yesteryear, people would kind of put like rings of garlic around their neck and do all sorts of crazy things. But garlic is amazing for your immunity. So now that that's kind of been sauteing for about a minute because the pan is nice and hot, I'm going to start building my sauce. So I'm going to do 2 cans of organic tomato sauce. And this is plain tomato sauce, so I'm going to be flavoring it from scratch and building it on your own. And then I'm also going to be using 1 can of diced tomatoes. And you don't want to drain them, you actually want to infuse the liquid in the diced tomatoes. So get all that going. And now as far as flavor. So the only ingredients that I'll be putting in the sauce are fresh garlic. I mean, not fresh garlic, this is dried garlic. To give it a little bit more robust garlic flavor. And for each of those spices that I'll be putting in right now, I'm using a tablespoon of each. This one is dried basil, tablespoon of dried basil. Basil is also another great immune boosting spice. And then we have oregano. Oregano is great. Not only is it immune boosting, but it also helps for detoxing. It's great if you have a cold, and it's just all around a great spice to use. So the twist that I'll be putting in my sauce today, so typically, let's say when you're using a regular tomato sauce, you would be making it with fresh basil, but because I wanted more of a cilantro, or rather more of a cacciatore, spicy, zingy kind of flavor, I'm actually going to be using cilantro. Plus, while talking about keeping your immunity up, cilantro is great for boosting your immunity, detoxing, and just overall cleansing and healing. And it also makes your sauce taste amazing. So we're going to be throwing in a handful of cilantro. Look at how beautiful this dish is coming along. And because I'm making it a hybridized cacciatore, I'll also be putting in some mushrooms. And last but not least, building in some peppers. And as far as mushroom and pepper nutrition, mushrooms are great because they are high in vitamin D rather, and then peppers they're super high in vitamin C. Anyway, so I'm going to be letting all of this cook back down, and when the mushrooms start to shrink, I'll be fitting the chicken back in here, and then that'll finish cooking, and this will all cook for about 20 minutes, and then we'll have our nice one-pot dish. So I will be back shortly with the dish almost complete. Alrighty then, so it has been 20 minutes, and while my lovely dish was cooking down, I also decided to whip up some red lentil pasta. Keeping in trends with tonight's gluten-free theme, red lentil pasta is obviously gluten-free, and what's great about it is it's super nutritious, it's high in protein, high in fiber, and it's only 1 ingredient, red lentil flour. So it's as clean as you could pretty much get, and organic, of course. So now that our lovely sauce has been made, I'm gonna find a piece of chicken in here and start plating up. So actually first, I'll plate up with some pasta. And of course, you can use any pasta that you'd like. I love using legume-based pastas because there's so many varieties. You know, there's red lentil pasta, black bean pasta, chickpea pasta. You could just name all the pastas and keep going down the line. You think of a bean, there's basically a pasta for it. There's even, I've had beet pasta, kale pasta. Some other pastas that I do like are also quinoa, as well as brown rice pasta. And the quinoa and brown rice pasta are some of the ones that most people, I'm getting a facial here. Quinoa and brown rice pastas are some that most people have kind of bought in the early days of gluten-free pastas or even rice pasta. And a lot of people say, oh, I don't like gluten-free pastas because they're very mushy. Part of why they end up becoming mushy is because people overcook them. So the package for those usually say cook 8 to 10 minutes, but theoretically they really cook in 4 to 5 minutes. However, the legume-based pastas actually take a lot longer. So the lentil pasta will be super al dente if you only cook it in 8 to 10 minutes. So it actually cooks for about 15 minutes. So there's your little pasta education for you. All right, so I threw my pasta in there, throwing a nice piece of chicken in here. Let's go dig in for some mushrooms and peppers and tomato sauce. Get some extra cilantro going on. Looking yummy, yummy, yummy. Can't wait to get it in my tummy. And then of course, as any good chef would do, wipe the side, throw a little green garnish for some pop, and voila. So here you have it, some red lentil pasta with some cilantro chicken cacciatore a la Chef Via Melissa. Stay tuned because I will be coming with you, to you rather, with some more amazing, healthy, quarantine-y style dishes. Ciao!